Okay.
Hi everyone,
Okay.
welcome to a new interview with a new writer. Today we have Mr. Chethak MP with us, who is a Bangalore-based writer and a storyteller par excellence. Chethak completed his BA English Honours from English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad in 2018. After that, he started working as a freelance writer in a writing agency, and some months later, in August 2018, he joined the technology headlines. And since then, he has been working there and is now a senior content writer. So I worked with Chetak while I was working there at Technology Headlines from 2018 to 19, and he is my most favorite ex-colleague so far. He's one of the nicest and kindest person I have ever come across, and I think that's what makes him unique as a person and as a writer. I have read some of his short stories, such as Mr. Sing a Song, which is a very humorous short story about an aspiring singer and songwriter, and his first horror mystery short story, The Mystery of the Mutilator, and I love those. He also has a blog named There Up in the Clouds, and if I just may show the screen, share the screen, yeah. Okay, so he has a blog named There Up in the Clouds, and where he shares his thoughts, ideas, and quotes from his favorite books. So let's hear more from him. So, hi Chetak, welcome to the interview.
Hi, Saurabh. Hi, Saurabh. Thank you for this interview. It's very nice to hear from you, and I'm very glad that you are taking up this initiative to interview some nice writers. And I also was excited to hear about it, and I thought since you are a good friend, I can participate and I can also engage with you in this. Thank you very much for this introduction, and yeah, let's
Yes,
get
Chetak,
started.
it's not often that I meet a writer like you, and from the very beginning, your insights and your take on life, basically. I mean, the the outlook that you have and the
Okay.
the society you want to see, and the writings that the things you write about, they all reflect the kind of person and a soul that you are. So it's a completely our pleasure, and I hope the viewers who are going to view this interview are going to appreciate you as I do. So, Chetak, the first question to you is, please tell us about your early days and how you fell in love with reading and writing. And when was the time you decided to be a writer?
Okay. So my interest in stories first began in my house while watching TV mostly, and then slowly uh, I was exposed to stories in my school time. Over the years, my favorite subject had been English, English literature mostly. My English teacher had been very supportive, especially to me. She encouraged me to read and write more, and that English class was my favorite. I was alert. I was most talkative. I was ready to answer the teacher's questions, and all other subjects, science and other subjects like maths and all, I was poor. I was even sleepy, and I wasn't even interested that much. So I started reading more in my school for my school subjects, and I started to write whenever I had the chance. Uh, I remember the first time I wrote was I was a very small kid. I was maybe in my third standard or fourth standard. I had started to like a girl in my class, and I was just thinking, how can I impress her? How can I impress her? And so I started to write in my in my room, just some words which I thought may help me improve my knowledge of English language so that I can talk to her better. And so I started to do that, and I never really got to do anything about that crush I had. Anyway, over the years, I developed a really strong liking to stories, and I started to watch more movies, and I started to really get in immerse myself into the stories. And some of the stories, like the ones I read in school, they really struck a chord with me. I still remember a few of them. Like, for example, of one or two by O. Henry, and even drama. I had some dramas by Shakespeare. So, and I was also reading some stories on my own at home. Uh, Obviously, one of them was Harry Potter, and a few others were like Treasure Island, Moby Dick, Black Beauty. So whenever I had the chance, I would try to read, but my reading habit has always been a bit poor. I try to read, but I struggle with it, and but still the magic of the stories, the words, they still are very strong, and I have always been a fan of the written word, and especially of the stories. And so over the years, as I started to read more and more, I decided that this is something meaningful I should do in my life. Uh, I considered doing something else, like being a doctor or something, being a architect, being a engineer, but they didn't make sense. So in my free time, whenever I had some time, I would just write on my own, and there was no one else, and it was just me and the piece of paper in front of me. So I would just write and write. I would first began by writing about my problems. Like I was going through some trauma, and some personal issues, and a lot of mental health issues as well. So I started to write those, and consistently on writing, expressing myself on the paper, it helped me to cope with them, and it helped me to smile. It helped me to face my friends. And it helped me to be confident in my skin. So, so I just so then, yeah, I guess writing was the only career I could have chosen, because I've spent so much time uh, reading and writing that I can't imagine myself doing something else. And uh, it feels like it feels like home, uh, and I feel comfortable, and I feel like I'm on the right path when I'm sitting and writing. So. Um, So there was never really a choice, a big confusion or choice about what I should do in my career. So I guess uh, it has been clear from the past few years that I will be making my living as a writer. So uh, yeah, uh, yeah,
That's great to know. That's great to know, Chetak. And after reading some of your short stories, I'm sure that you have chosen the right path. And many people, they just can't, even though they have the talent and the skills, they can't decide to what path to take. And I'm so glad that you have chosen a path. And so, speaking about your short stories, please tell us about some of your short stories you have written, and which of them are your favorites?
okay. I have written only a few short stories actually. One of them is called Mr. Sing a Song. You had mentioned before. It was my first short story, and it was inspired by my own life circumstances before. So in Mr. Sing a Song, uh, there's a young writer, aspiring writer, and he's also a father, and he has a wife and daughter. So he has a personal dilemma in his life. So he runs away from his family to get a few days off, to take a break, and to get a new perspective on this issue. So he does that, and he starts to think about the mistakes he has done in his past, and he encounters a few new people. He meets one person and talks that person a lot, and he gains new perspective by the end of the story, and he realizes that he has made a few mistakes, and he can learn, and uh, he can come back to the normalcy. So the interesting thing about that short story, from the writing perspective, was I wrote it nearly in 1 day's time because I was so excited to share the story. I think I sat during the uh, 11 o'clock or something in the morning, and by like evening I had written it almost in the same way that it is available to read to anyone. So I just made a few changes, maybe once or twice afterwards, and really happy about that. And even a few of my college friends from Hyderabad, they say that it's a really nice story, and they like this short story the most from my other short stories. Okay, that's Mr. Singer Song. And another short story I wrote is The Mystery of the Mutation. Written. So in this short story, there's a serial killer in a fictional island. So there's a fictional island in like about 150 years ago, and there's a serial killer on the loose. And it's about how the people of the town, they come to a realization that there's someone uh, within them, that there is that is a bad person. He's trying to do all these harms and all, and and also there's an element of fantasy also in that, uh, because I talk about uh, a little bit of magic, a little bit of something which is not real. Real, real. We can't encounter those in the real world. So that uh, I wrote that mainly because as a child I sometimes watched some horror stories and horror movies, like for example Frankenstein, Dracula, and I uh, I'm not proud of the fact that I enjoyed it a little, because some of the themes are very dark in those stories, but I wanted to explore it from a storyteller's perspective. So I wrote that. And there's another short story I wrote called Hiding in Plain Sight. In Hiding in Plain Sight, it's inspired from my real life as well. I've written it in epistolary format. So epistolary format is you can it's expressing the story in the form of letters and emails and messages from one person to another. So in this short story, it's all in the form of letters and journal entries and voice recordings. So it's based on my real life, and I'm the protagonist in that. So in this short story called Hiding in Plain Sight, I am just at home. I'm just enjoying my stay at home, and then suddenly I start to seriously doubt a few people near my house as being spies from another country. They're trying to you know mess with our country or something like that. So I started to investigate them in depth, And yeah, so that's a really nice short story, one of my favorites, because I had taken uh, references and information uh, and so many other things straight out of my real life. So the place where I stay, the surroundings nearby my house, everything is like almost the same, which I've taken from my real life and put it on the paper. So, and another short story I wrote is called A Brief Reunion. It is also it is also inspired from my own life. So in that, it is also in that there's a protagonist, and he's a teacher, and he has a failed love affair, love interest in the past, and he can't get over it. So, so on one lucky day, he gets to know that his love interest is coming back to his life. So he is so happy, and he meets her, and they spend some quality time, and that's the short story. I don't want to give away the climax and all. I can share the link later, and you can just read them. So these are some of the short stories I've written, proper short stories.
So Chetak, so nice to know that about these short stories. So when can we see a compilation of these short stories in a full-fledged book?
I haven't given it much thought about formally publishing them. As of now, I had always written to share with friends and family. I never thought of making money from them, or making a name for myself commercially from these short stories. So I'm not really sure, but I've been thinking about making my blog a more regular practice. So sometimes I may publish in my blog. I'm really considering that, and through my blog, you can keep in touch with my creative writing, I guess. So yeah.
Yes, for sure. Chetak, it's been 3 years you have been writing professionally. You made the transition from creative writing to professional writing. So how different is professional content writing from creative writing in your opinion?
Okay, so professional content writing is very different compared to creative writing, in my opinion, because in professional content writing, I have to write according to rules set by a few standards of the profession. So, like for example, I need to write in a formal tone. I can't write jokes. I can't write about things like relationships, love, and all. So I can't write about friendship. I can't write about people that much. So it can be very monotonous sometimes. It can be a bit boring sometimes, but it's also an important part of. It has become an important part of my life now. So, professional writing has a lot of rules to be followed. So one must write clearly. He or she must have uh, good idea, good understanding of the subject at hand, and he must be able to write confidently about these subjects. And even if anyone were to ask him or her about the subject, he or she could needs to be able to confidently give an answer. So this is the rule of thumb that I personally follow. Uh, uh, so first, yeah, that, and grammar is very important, and the presentation, the way you present, and you also need to have your readers in your mind before you write, and so it's a bit it's like a practice that you can try to develop, whereas creative writing is more oriented to the imagination, to things and intangible things and things we can't see. So it's very it's like almost opposites. Um, so yeah, I mean, uh, is there anything else that I should try to answer?
No. So, what are the tools that you use while writing?
Okay. Nowadays, I try to keep it simple. I don't use much of online tools like Grammarly and all. I'm sure I have good grammar skills and spelling and punctuation and all. So uh, I try to first write a rough draft in my notebook, and once I write a rough draft in a piece of paper or a notebook, I just then I try to write uh, on a document on my computer as it is, and very rarely I seek the help of online grammar checkers and all. But I frequently use the help of online dictionary, Merriam-Webster, Wikipedia, and all. So I I look up the meanings of some difficult words and sometimes synonyms. Uh, so that is one thing I commonly use. So dictionaries, online dictionaries, and occasionally I look up the meaning of a few idioms and uh, some uh, uh, some famous some famous sentences, quotes, and all. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I don't use Grammarly much because I feel like I am having a good capability to write proper sentences, grammatically sound sentences. So I try not to rely on Grammarly that much. Anyway, I try to reread after I finish a paragraph or a page. So then I try to just proofread and just finish.
So, Chetak, now we are in our last question. What are your
Uh,
suggestions for aspiring and new writers?
okay. Oh, so it's a very big question, yeah. So, from my knowledge, there are a lot of young people today who are interested in writing, and it's a very good thing, I guess. And there are a few older people as well. I have noticed they also have developed an interest in creative writing and writing in general. So that is also a good thing, in my opinion. So I would I my suggestions to aspiring writers is to uh, write for a meaningful reason and know that the words you're trying to say they are worth something. And so many people have a wrong perspective of writing, that it is to make money or it is to do a particular job. But it is so much more than that. Money making is just a small aspect of it, you could say. And um, I suggest aspiring writers to read some of the classics, some of the older stories, and some of the famous names in the literary world, even not only of English but of local languages as well. Uh, I want to suggest writers to take care of their health as well, take care of their immediate surroundings, so that there's a uh, yeah, there's a uh, close link between their lives and the writing they want to practice. So these are my suggestions. Just just to write for a meaningful purpose, meaningful reason, and just try to remember that um, making money is not the uh, main purpose of writing something. It is just one of the uh, fruits of the writing, you could say. But the main purpose, in my opinion, of writing is to communicate something. So the meaning that you're trying to say, the message that you're trying to convey to others, that is the more important uh, job of the writing, I want to say.
Yes, indeed, Chetak. And the thing that you told about health, I know that how health conscious you have been. I mean,
Uh,
from the day I saw you till the day I left, you yourself have reduced around 10
uh,
to 15 kgs cycling
uh,
and adopting a healthy
yeah,
lifestyle. So you
yeah,
are what you say, and that you profess to the whole world, and that's how you are. I mean, that's the thing I love the most about you. I mean, you are just as
uh,
as the world sees you. So, like always, it was such a pleasure talking to you, Chetak. I would love to read more of your works, and which I'm sure you are going to share with me as you go on writing, and encourage avid readers to do so. Please keep writing and pursuing your life calling. And thank you very much for taking some time out from your busy schedule
uh,
to attend this interview. It means
uh,
it means a lot. So thanks a lot,
mm.
Chetak, and have a great
Yeah, welcome.
and a great life.
Yeah, yeah. I also enjoyed. Thank you very much. Have
Thank
a
you.
nice day.
Thank you.